Hello, in this video we are going to build a decision tree using the R programming language. And as has been stated before, this is not a programming course, and this exercise is just to get you familiar with the R programming language, and it's more of a cut and paste type of exercise. We're not going to actually even look very closely at the output. Nor are we going to really discuss the syntax that much, but if you're going to work alongside of a person who builds models, an analyst, or you manage a team of analysts, you should at least have a certain degree of familiarity with, when they start talking about R, you should have some familiarity with the language. So, with that being said, we're going to take the same data set that we used in Unit 5, and this will be the home equity line of credit data set. Even though decision trees can handle missing values, we are going to use the data set that has already had the missing values imputed. So we're just going to use the exact same data set as before so that we can use that for comparison purposes. So in order to do this, the first thing we need to do is load in 3 libraries. And if they haven't been installed, we're going to have to install them right now. And to remind you how to install libraries using R, you come up here, you open up your R window, you come over here, and you have to set the CRAN mirror. And this is just where you're going to download your files from. So you're sort of on the honor system to choose a CRAN mirror or a site close to where you live. I have messed around with it, and as I said before, it doesn't really seem to matter if you choose somewhere out in Timbuktu, but I'm just going to be a good corporate citizen and do what they ask, and I chose something near Cleveland, Ohio. So now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to have to install RPart, and that's the decision tree program, and it stands for recursive partitioning. So let's go and grab that guy. So let's install some packages. You click Install Packages, and then all of the packages that you can install are listed here. So we just go down here and we look for RPart, and we probably missed it. And it's up here somewhere, RPART. There it is. And we're going to need this one as well. So let's grab the RPart plot to draw the tree. And we click on that guy. And we're also going to need ROC. Well, let's grab these two first. And so R will do the installation for us. And once you install it, you never have to do it again. And now we're going to go grab DrawROC R. We've already done that before using the previous video, but let's do it again just for people who might not have done it. So ROC R, this is going to draw DrawROC curves. So again, it doesn't hurt if you want to install it a second time, but once you install it using R, you never have to do it again. So now what we're going to do is just copy and paste these libraries, and now that they've been installed, we need to load them in if we're going to use them. And again, you may occasionally get an error message saying, hey, this thing was built in a later version. That's usually not going to be a problem. So now the next thing we're going to do is load the same data set that we used before. And so you see that we've loaded in the data set, home equity line of credit.text, and we just printed out the first 6 records. So these first 6 people, 5 of them are bad. This is the loan amount. There are no missing values in this particular data set. Now what we're going to do, we'll use the attach command, and that just tells R we're using this data set. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to build a decision tree. In the decision tree, it's very similar syntax to the logistic regression. The only difference here is that we call our part instead. There's some slightly different syntax there, but that's pretty much it. So we've done this, and then now we have a decision tree called T1. Whoops. And there it is. That's our decision tree. So you can see that if the debt to income ratio is greater than 3, then it's the next thing it tests is it sees if the debt to income ratio is less than 45, and it basically just, these are a series of if then else rules here. Now we can actually draw the decision tree if we want, so we can summarize the decision tree if we want, but let's just plot the decision tree and label it. I think there's better ways to draw this tree than what I'm about to show you, but this is a way of doing it right off the bat, and just shows you that it is possible to draw decision trees in R, but I've seen it done a lot better. I'm just doing the quick and dirty to get you familiar with it. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a ROC curve. And so this is just the same, almost the same syntax that we used before for the logistic regression, but now we're going to do it because it's just the output of a decision tree is the same as a logistic regression. It's a probability. What's the probability that the guy's going to default? What's the probability that he's not going to default? It's just a value, and this ROC curve does not know that this came out of a decision tree. So we can draw a ROC curve. And by drawing a ROC curve, we just type in the code, and here it is, the nice familiar ROC curve that we know and love right there. And just for fun, we can even calculate the area under the ROC curve. So there it is, 84%, which I think is much better than we had for the logistic regression. So the point is that I just wanted to show you the syntax, and this is nothing more than a copy and paste exercise if you want to try this. But again, I recommend that you actually do try to copy and paste this code and get this working, because even though many of you will never write code or build models, it's kind of nice to know what the people who are working for you, kind of nice to know what they're doing, so it doesn't sound like it's some mysterious art form that they're practicing. It's very straightforward stuff, and the more comfortable you are with it, the better you will be at managing or working alongside of other analysts. So that's it. Thank you very much.